Hi there, Mark here again, and welcome to part 3 of my build guide for the 2018 release of the wonderful Tamiya Super Astute. This is where we got to in part 2, and this is what the chassis looks like at the end of step 17 and using all parts in parts bag B. So let's get part bag C cracked open and get on with step 18, which is making up the rear damper stay assembly. You're going to need these two FRP parts, plastic part D4, your two little plastic parts G1, and then line up all the other parts, the metal hardware that you need, and match up to the diagram. It does say here apply thread lock in a few places. I have used the red thread lock, which is this, the AG, and using a cocktail stick I've just put it on the threads inside the actual nuts and these press nuts, these little funny press nuts you'll see in a sec. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to do this part here where you've got these hex mounts and attach them to the chassis subsection. What you've got to make sure is that these countersunks here, hope you can see those, have got to be facing down. And we've got to copy the alignment of the holes in those hexes with that diagram there. So get your little 3x6 screw from underneath, screw on your hex mount. Same for the other side, just do them hand tight for now. Get something pointy. I've got this file here, stick it into the hole and make sure that you are copying the alignment of that line that's shown through the hex part there. So it's got to be something like that angle, and then nip up the screw. Make sure the holes are pointing in the right direction, and that's that finished. Now we're going to affix this to part D4. Again, copy the alignment of the diagram, that goes on there, and that just affixes using two 3x10 countersunk self-tapping screws, one in that hole and one obviously in the hole next to it. Just get those nipped up, and that plastic part D4 is really hard plastic, and you need a bit of force to get these screws in, I can tell you. Okay, so that's that finished. It shows here fitting sponge sheet on the bottom. You can see there's a diagram there. I've cut mine to match that little diagram, and I think it just fits across the middle here. There we go. As it shows here, you've got these four tiny little, what they call press nuts. I've put a little bit of red Loctite, you can see in there, and those got to pop face down into these four holes, as you can see. So you've got the flat side sticking up. I'll just pop those two in there first so I can hold on to them. Turn it over. Then you've got your FRP damper stay itself. That's going to go over there. And then a 3x10 machine screw to go through the holes in the plate and locate into those press nuts. So that's the one. There's the other one. Well, I'm still holding on to that press nut at the back. And that press nut will dig in and grip the plastic, so you don't need a spanner obviously for those. Just pop the other two press nuts into the remaining two holes there. Again, hold on to them, turn it over, 3x10 screw in there, and the last one in that hole there. Okay, so that's firmly affixed now, and the last step is to put the two ball connectors on. So that's simply a 3x20 screw going in that hole right at the bottom there. See it poking out the other side. Plastic part G1, just uses a spacer, I think, that just goes over the top there. And then your little 5mm ball connector with some thread lock in there. Just screws on the end. I'll zoom in just so you can see this at the end. Same with the other side. Pop it through part G1 and your black ball connector. And this is how the assembled part should look when you've finished. So you can just see those ball connectors there and those plastic spacers, and that's where the screws go on the other side. In step 19 we're going to attach that assembly we've just made up onto the chassis, but first, as it shows here, I'm going to put in the gearbox joints. First of all, put in your red O-ring into the output cup of each one. It's easier just to push it in with the dog bone, push it right down. Same for the long joint, just pop that in. And as it shows, just apply a bit of grease to this part that's going to go inside the gearbox. Just pop the long one into this side and the short one into the other side. Yep, give it a spin, it's just turning everything nicely there. Get the damper stay assembly, and the two holes at the back here should line up and mount onto those two alloy hexes there. So it's a 10mm machine screw, 3x10, into each of these two holes. Here's the second one. As I say, it is a bit fiddly, but once we've got these couple of screws in, it should hold it securely in place. And then it's just a 10mm self-tapper in the holes in the actual FRP. I'll just get them in and show you close up. So there you go. So it's a self-tapper in that hole, self-tapper in that hole, and you've got your machine screw, one there and one there. On to step 20 of making up the rear uprights. Now they are very similar, but these plastic parts C1 and C2 are slightly different. They're kind of opposites, if you can see. So I've made up the side with the C1, which is the left side, so I'll just make up the right side. First of all, get your grub screw, which is 3x12, and copy the alignment. As you can see how this is now, the alignment there, the grub screw goes in this side of the hole, and don't screw it all the way in. You've got to leave 5mm sticking out the plastic part. That looks about right. And get your black ball connector and just screw that on there. Give it a good nip up with your box wrench. Your wheel axle and your red O-ring, just pop that in. Again, use the dog bones to push it right down into the cup. 1150 ball bearing, and push that into the outside of the upright, like so. The other 1150, what I like to do is put it onto the axle and use that then to push it into place in the upright. And the last part is getting your 4mm E-clip, and you've got to clip it onto the axle to stop it from falling out. Always easier said than done. Okay then, so that's the end of step 20. Step 21, it says is attaching the rear axles, but it's actually those uprights and the dog bones, and you also have to make up the top arms. So you've got your 3x37 dark shaft with the threads on each end, and then it's simply put in the MA11 5mm adjuster, screw one on each end, and then match it up to the diagram. Make two. So here the diagram's showing how to put each side on. I'll just get this out of the way and we'll get the chassis out. We'll fit the left upright first and make sure you get the right one. They are different. So you want the one with the ball end pointing forwards. First you need your 37mm shaft, and then we're going to fit on the little E-clip onto one end. Okay, so I just pressed it down on the bench, so that's that in. You need your two plastic spacers, parts G1, and they go either side of the upright. So start feeding the shaft through the bottom arm or wishbone, put your spacer on, and those spacers are quite tight, I've got to say. Get your upright, feed that through, and then fit your other G1 spacer in the other side of that upright. I'll just zoom in. Hopefully you can see that better. You've got the two spacers. Just push that bar all the way through, and we've got to get the other E-clip on the end there. Okay, finally got it in place. You simply get your dog bone, put it in the axle, and then into the gearbox joint. Finally get your upper arm, and that's got to pop onto the damper stay there, that end, and obviously the other end's got to pop onto the top of the upright, like so. Hopefully you can see that, how that's all connected up, and it's exactly the same but opposite for the other side. And this is what it should look like with both sides fitted. Step 22 is attaching the motor, and I've got this lovely super stock TZ motor, and I'm glad that this has got quite a long output shaft because it looks pretty simple. It's just a couple of cap screws that go in there, a washer, and then putting the pinion on. But do look out for the length of the output shaft, because I'm sure with some motors, is a stock can which has got a much shorter shaft on there. I don't think that would be useful at all, because the grub screw on the pinion won't be able to attach to that shorter shaft. I'll just show you why. I'll just push it up against the motor plate where it's going to mount, and as you might be able to see there, it just about comes flush with the back of the spur gear. However, a stock can, you can see it's nowhere near reaching the spur, and that is not going to work for the pinion, so just something to bear in mind. So let's just get this beauty mounted up then. I am going to fit on the motor plate because it covers in all those holes in the motor there. It's going to be a bit tricky to line up. I've just managed to get that 3x8 cap screw located in one of the holes there. Might just about be able to see the other hole in there, so I'll get the other cap screw, this one with a washer on, 3mm washer. I'll get that in the slot and into the other hole in the motor. Obviously don't do these up too tight yet because we've got to set the mesh. So as you can see, I can slide that backwards and forwards. Let's get that pinion on. And this is unusual, this is a steel, I think it's an M05. It's normally 06 or 08 I think in most of the Tamiyas. But yeah, this is an 05, and as I said, it is steel, so that's good. And we're just going to get that onto, obviously it's got the tiny little grub screw in there. As we've got to get it so it's lined up dead central with the spur gear, and I'll just give that grub screw a nip up, and luckily it does fit on that output shaft okay, but as I said, the stock motor it certainly wouldn't have fitted. What we need to do now is adjust that setting so it's just a nice snug fit but not too tight. You need a little bit of play. You can feel if you've done it too tight, there's a bit of resistance there. I don't like that, so I'll back it off slightly. You could use a piece of paper to put in between the teeth and use that as a guide, but yeah, I think that with a tiny amount of play is what we need. So we'll just get this nipped up, and that's the end of the step. Step 23 is attaching the gear cover, which is this polycarbonate piece here, which I've already cut out, as you can see. Just follow the instructions and cut round the lip and put your sticker on. But there's one little note here, there's this MC13, it's a little alloy spacer. Let's just show you. There it is, the tiny little thing, and it does say to use some CA glue to glue it in position onto the motor plate, so I'll do that first. So there's our little spacer glued in place. What we've got to do is pop our cover over and hold it in place with these three 3x6 screws. Second one goes in there, and the last one goes there. Then you've got plastic part A5, and that's just a cover that goes over the hole there, so we can get to that to adjust the spring. So that's that just clipped in place. And the final part to this step is the little plastic part G6, which is that, and that just goes in this hole here, like so, and we just hold that in place with a little R clip. There we go. So yeah, that's the end of the step. Okay then, step 24, and time to get your RC equipment or your electronic parts out. And what we're going to do here is centre up the servo. It does show you need to use a low profile servo. Then we're going to fit the servo saver and get it mounted up as it shows in the diagram here. But first, make sure you centre the servo. So set your trim in neutral, get it all wired up, plug your battery in, turn it on, and what you need to do is just throw that servo from left to right a few times and make sure it returns to centre. If you don't do this, you could have a lot of trouble later on. Once it's centred, make sure you turn everything off and unplug everything again. And as you can see, I've gone for this Endura 14 kilogram digital low profile servo. I really rate these. They're cheap as chips, really good budget option. They work well and they're pretty fast too, and you've got metal gears, we've got a metal output there on the top. So yeah, I definitely recommend these. As I said, now it's in neutral, got to align it like this as it showed in the diagram. Get part P5 or P6, which is one of these, and make sure it fits your servo, and then with that prong pointing down, align it as best you can as to straight down. You'll never get it spot on, but if you just get it the nearest to straight down as you can. Pop on part P4. You got part P3 with the ball end in there and the little 2mm lock nut on the back. You can see where it's located. Just pop that on the top. You've got your plastic washer, part P1, that finishes it off, and then secure that with whatever screw fits your servo. There we go, so on to step 25, which is nice and simple. We're just fitting the post to the servo itself and making up the tie rod. And just to note that these servo stay posts are in a separate bag. They're not got any part numbers, they're just in a bag loose in the box. So what we're going to do is get the servo stay itself. It's got a little lip at the bottom there that goes down and pointing towards the back. Then you want a 3x8 self-tapper, put your 3mm washer on, and it's just that one screw holds into that hole in the post. It's a bit fiddly to get that screw started, but it's easy once you've got it started. So there you go, that's the post fixed on, and obviously do the same to the other side. So there it is with the two posts fitted, and then it's simply making up your tie rod. You've got the tiny little MC8 3x18 black bar. Screw your 5mm black ball adjusters onto each end, and again, as the other steps, match it up to the diagram. There's an 8mm gap between the two ball adjusters. In step 26, we're going to attach all of that RC equipment, or the radio equipment, and the servo. I'll just show you the servo. You've got two 3x10 self-tapping screws that go underneath, and you need to fit the one into the hole first and not into the slot. Put the one into the slot second. So get your servo somewhere near in the right place, and then try and find the hole through there, and it's just simply that 3x10 self-tapper. It's countersunk. Okay, so they're both in there, and that's a servo mounted. Then get your tie rod and just pop that onto the servo itself and onto the steering linkage. There we go. I'll just get on and mount the rest of the electronics. Okay then, so here she is. That's the chassis almost finished. So I've got my ESC here, receiver over there. I've test fitted, and my LiPo battery does fit in this battery compartment, and I've just fired it up. So here we go. The servo is very fast and very powerful, and looks like she's running okay. I hope you've enjoyed following along. I hope you've picked up the odd tip or two maybe there, and hopefully you'll join me in part 4, which will be hopefully finishing the whole buggy, because we're only going to put the wheels and tyres on and build up the shocks, and then it's time for the bodywork. So I hopefully get all that done in the last video. Thanks again, and hope to see you soon. Bye.